has made some safety improvements. Tell us a little bit about those improvements and why they're important.
The university is really taking great strides in doing a variety of things. I'm going to speak specific on issues not related to the law enforcement component, but some other things that we've done that ancillate around that. It's really two bookends to an approach that we have tried to accomplish here at the University of Texas, but some things I think that are key to mention. First, as we looked at the incidents that have happened on campus, we want to ensure that we have a feeling of safety amongst our campus constituents, faculty, staff, students, as well as our visitors. A couple of things that have been really important that we've done to increase our safety posture on campus has been with our celebrated entrance and celebrated entrance building concept. As part of the university's process of ensuring that our buildings are secure after normal hours, we've established a way that we use proximity card access for our students. Our media program is your ID is your key that gets you into buildings after hours. At each of these locations, we try to enhance the features that are related to structural security. Approachways coming up in the main pathways, we've increased lighting at those areas. Additionally, lighting and video cameras that are available for forensic evidence collection are also located at these entrances. Once inside, we've created a space called a safety hub. Each one of the buildings on campus that are academic in nature will have a safety hub that includes a public access automatic external defibrillator. Inside that box is also hemorrhage control kits as part of our Stop the Bleed initiative. Additionally, there is an indoor emergency call box. One push button directly dials 911 here to our public safety answering point at UTPD, as well as informational signage about your exact location and where that numerical address is on campus. We've had a lot of feedback from our constituencies that they want to be actively engaged in these processes. Certainly when the incident occurred in the Harrison Brown case, it happened on one of our busiest intersections in the middle of the day with a lot of our campus community present. Since that, we've partnered with several organizations on campus, most in particular with Dell Medical School, to pull forward the Stop the Bleed initiative. It is our goal this calendar year to train 5,000 people in intervention, bystander, bleeding and hemorrhage control. To date, we've reached about half of those numbers, and by the end of the year, we think we'll meet that goal. We're providing that for a variety of our teams on campus. Each one of our buildings has building emergency management teams, which are interfacing as our first phase. Students, faculty, and staff are also invited to attend these courses free of charge. I think that really is something that's very important. As we talked with the Browns and some of our organizations on campus, there was a feeling that people didn't know what to do. We want to provide that information. So I think that's some of the key points as we look at that. Additionally, after hours, our Sure Walk program and the way that we do our nighttime transportation program enables the availability of students, faculty, and staff to be moved after hours once our bus line and shuttle service stops. We partner with several different entities on campus. Parking Transportation Services in cooperation with the University Police Department are the mainstay of that organization and provide these ways to get people to and from on campus so they're not having to walk alone. As part of our BSAF campaign, we have really pushed forward the initiative and the issues of don't walk alone on campus, walk in pairs, contact someone, let them know where you're going, when you're coming back, your route of travel, all those things that really put some emphasis back on ownership by everyone on our campus community. Certainly, we want people to be cognizant of their surroundings. See something, say something, dial 911 as part of a campaign platform that really encourages our community to look out for information that could be vital to helping us keep our campus safe. Additionally, there's some removal of vegetation and foliage around campus as part of this initiative. That's increasing part of our lighting profile on campus, as well as really identifying our primary means of travel by our campus constituency. We want to ensure that people are taking the safe paths around campus, and we're constantly doing things to enhance that availability. Yes, ma'am.
Jimmy, my name's Alyssa. I'm with KXAN. I don't think I've met you in person.
Hey, how many times are we going to talk on the phone, right?
Yes. So I wanted to check, first of all, the timeline for those improvements, so those celebrated entrances. When do you expect all of those changes to be in how much does it cost? Where does the funding for that come from?
As we look at the celebrated entrance concept, it's something that's been a program that initiated even before we've had any of the horrific incidents on campus. We've been working on that initiative for about 2 years. It started with securing our border buildings, especially on the Guadalupe corridor. Just as a safety precaution, we had folks that were working late in buildings, and they felt that some of our buildings that are more mature in nature didn't have enough security with the way that they were able to secure them and lock them at night. The celebrated entrance concept, specifically with our safety hub and that entrance, has been ongoing since the mid-2017. We are scheduled to have that completed. Target date is October of 2018. When we do that, we anticipate 160 buildings will have this functionality on the main campus. Now, this is just a start for us. We're going to be moving this same model as funding becomes available to our Pickle Research Campus and the West Pickle Campus. We have a large amount of constituents out there. We're focused on one thing here, make sure it works, and then we're going to move that model out to those locations.
And the funding for that comes from, is that just like Campus General Safety Fund? Or?
Funding that has been made available as part of a DPS audit survey that occurred in 2016. To date, the university has received funding through UT Systems, roughly $5 million, and that money is being put towards this initiative as well as others on campus.
Awesome. And you also mentioned the SureWalk program. The first part of my question is, it sounds like the SureWalk program has really helped in terms of increasing safety on campus.
Yes, I would say SureWalk has been a success. We've had several reiterations of that process, and as we've moved down the path, we've found ways to make it work better. Partnerships with local transportation companies and ride sharing, as well as our shuttle services and Cap Metro, and parking transportation, UPD, all play an active role in that process. Student government has been a foundation of that from the start, and I think that partnership has helped make it successful. The students buy into the program.
And I've heard from some of those student leaders that they are concerned that the funding for SureWalk is not concerned. It's kind of on like a student government as needed basis, it's as opposed to like an official permanent funding for SureWalk. Do you have concerns about how that program will be able to continue into the future, or do you have any ideas about how it could?
I think the university always has concerns about reoccurring cost. There's only so much money that's available to do these initiatives, and we have to structure them in a way that's efficient use of the funds that the university has received. Currently, there are specific amounts of money that are established for these programs. In the future, as these programs go, additional funding sources will have to be found, and at that time, identified what that amount will be and how we will continue to sustain it moving forward.
Got it. Last thing for you, what about metal detectors on campus? Where are there metal detectors already on campus? Could there be more, and do you foresee any other measures to kind of mitigate the possibility of stabbing or weapon-related attacks?
The use of metal detection on campus, while it's nothing new across the United States, in higher education it really hasn't been the norm. Currently, the only places that we utilize metal detection is at public entertainment events, through some of our large venues such as the Irwin Center. The campus really doesn't have an appetite for that type of security. Our mission at the university is to educate folks and to create a welcoming and open atmosphere. There are some folks that don't believe that if we move down a path of that type of security, that it really embraces that concept and the mission of the university. The cost alone is pretty staggering. Metal detection for every door you put it on is between $5,000 and $10,000. You could do the math if you figure how many thousands of doors there are on campus. Even if we look at specific strategic locations, I think it would be challenging. It's staff intensive. If you're going to have metal detection, you have to have someone to monitor that and to intervene. And certainly why I don't want to speak for Chief Carter and the police force here on campus, I think that our current staffing model could not support that moving forward on a business hour or a 24-hour basis. As we look at those types of things, we also look at what's the balance. And part of our balance is what are the 15 other things that we can do to enhance and increase safety that still provides for a permeable and open campus.
What were the areas of need and improvement that were identified in that DPS audit of the campus?
The DPS audit provided a vast array of areas, everything for the evaluation of lighting on campus, to the way that we moved folks on campus, to the way that the University Police Department manned and did community policing, as well as how we secure our buildings. Those are kind of the 5 big areas that we were looking at. There's offshoots of all of these things, and as we look at a way to kind of better prepare this process, we're looking at it from a strategic standpoint as we move forward. Each one of those areas is currently being addressed by one of a variety of projects and initiatives that are going on campus, and as we get through the first couple of years of this, we will continue to evaluate the success of those programs and either provide additional funding and resources towards them or look at a better way to move forward in our safety aspect.
What would you say to students and to parents who still feel deeply impacted, perhaps traumatized from the events of last year of 2016?
Well, I will say that the 2 horrific incidents that happened on campus affected the whole campus community. No one's immune from that. I will say we're a city inside a city, a university campus in a large urban area that has the same problems that most urban areas do. This campus is extremely safe. I certainly want to go on record saying that. When we compare to other like-sized cities, our statistics are proof in themselves. I think our University Police Department and our other law enforcement community partners do an outstanding job of ensuring that 24/7, 365, you can come here and enjoy what you're doing, whether it's research, entertainment, or scholastics. That's what we're trying to accomplish, and I think that we really have been ahead of that game. Certainly Chief Carter and his team have put additional processes in place that just really sustain it even further, and I think that that would be something for Chief Carter to speak about as he has his turn up here. But the thing that we would want to tell folks is this: come on campus. When you come and you're afraid, the bad guys win. This is a community effort and it's a community solution. So we want our folks to be cognizant. We want you to be aware of your surroundings. We want to ensure that you know what's going on by us providing you pertinent and timely and informative information. And as we do that, I think that this partnership between the campus safety and the campus security aspects in conjunction with our university community help make it safer for everyone. But you have to be part of the solution. And I go back, we've used a moniker once. If something doesn't look right for you, you need to let somebody know. The see something, say something, dial 911 is extremely important. It's just not a tagline. It's unfortunately a way of life now.
You talked about the Stop the Bleed program a little bit. I'm with the Daily Text, by the way. How can students get involved with that more? Because I haven't really seen much about it, so how can students try and get that training through the university?
And we are continually putting out information in reference to that program. Right now is a partnership with Dell Medical School. On Dell Medical School's website, they have listings of weekly classes that are available. There's been, at least since December of last year, 5 or 6 stories that have been run regarding this initiative. It is a grassroots effort. The Stop the Bleed initiative happened during the Obama administration and really took off at a collegiate level about a year after that in 2015. As things occurred on our campus, we saw a need for it. There was already plans in place even prior to the Harrison Brown incident that was leading us to hemorrhage control on campus. We have a broad constituency that wants to be actively involved, and this is one way for them to do it. We have a very robust EMS system here in Austin Travis County that has outstanding response times and highly trained professionals. But as with anything, bystander intervention has been proven time and time again, especially with CPR, that it can save lives. And the same thing, if we can control the bleeding prior to the arrival of professionals, I think we've really helped expedite a better outcome for whoever's involved in those types of critical incidents.
How so moving forward, plans will be to enhance the camera system and more safety hubs. Can you expand on what the security camera system will be better or what that would look like?
I'd prefer to defer that question to Chief Carter.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Okay. Thanks, Jimmy. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm David Carter, Assistant Vice President of Campus Security and Chief of Police here for UTPD. Just a couple of quick notes, and we'll turn it over to your questions, is that we recognize that tomorrow is the anniversary of Harrison Brown's murder, tragic murder on campus. Just as a reminder, this upcoming Friday at noon is UT Remembers, where we remember all the students who were lost over this past year. And the president will be addressing that and have some comments. I'd encourage folks to show up for that. Other than that, the one thing that I noticed is that Jimmy actually answered all the questions, so I guess we're done, right? Let's go.
You guys have also added some additional officers. Can you talk a little bit about that and what they're doing on campus and how they're keeping students safe?
Yeah, one of the things that a lot of people think about when they think about the police is that the police have to be there, we have to be present, all of those things are true. We have to be responsive, we have to have a fast and quick response time, which we do. But there's another flip side to this whole issue. One of the things is student engagement, community engagement. One of the big changes that I think has been happening over the past couple of years is the issue of engagement with our community, especially the students engaging with us. I think after the tragedy in 2016 with Haruka, and then followed by Harrison Brown's tragic murder last year, our community understands that really a safe community is an engaged community. And it's not one-way street. It's a two-way street between the community and the police. In other words, we have to be responsive, but we also need to hear from our community. I think one of the things that Jimmy kind of mentioned here was the issue of see something, say something. I want to really reinforce the importance of that, is that really reinforces the idea of a community engagement. And our students are engaged, and they are reporting things. I don't know if you recall, but a couple of years ago, one of the things, a concern that we had at UTPD was the issue of hearing about incidents anecdotally. The one thing that I can tell you that has changed is the fact that our students in our community, whether that's faculty or staff, are actually calling us when there are things that don't look right. If it looks like somebody's in harm's way, then we respond to that situation quickly. So that, I think, is probably one of the biggest issues that we wanted to really get our hands around. The other thing over the past few years, when I started here, as you recall, after leaving APD in 2013, we were authorized 67 police officers. We're up to 104 today. In other words, we're actually authorized 104 police officers, which helps us with that visible presence on campus, which is really important. In other words, people ask the question of, do police make a difference? Yes, the answer is absolutely they do. If you have police presence, then you actually will have a safer community. And hopefully at the same time, that reinforces the issue of engagement. We don't want our police officers simply responding call to call, as sometimes you hear a problem in big cities, is that they respond call to call and they don't have time for community policing. Community policing is the principal and core aspect for UTPD. It's what makes the difference. You do have to have a sufficient number of officers, and thanks to the President and the administration, we are now up to a fairly significant strength of 104. We're still in the process of filling out all our vacancies. We have a cadet class that will graduate this May, and we'll put additional officers on the street, so that's coming. We're very excited about that. But that student engagement is really important. The other big thing that I think you can think and look towards in terms of what we have changed is the issue of communications. One of the things that we heard from last year was the fact that our police officers responded to this tragedy where 4 students were stabbed, one of them ultimately died, is the fact that we responded in less than 90 seconds and had the offender in custody. But we were very, very slow on our communications out of the police department. So we spent a lot of time and energy on the issue of communications and having a good method to communicate with our community, and that continues to evolve. It continues to improve. As many of you know, we now have our own public information director that works for me in the police department, and she is helping with helping our communication staff and helping our command staff in developing better communication protocols.
And out of those 104 officers, what's the breakdown for what they're doing? How many of them are on patrol? Are there any other significant changes?
So the one of the things that we've done is that we have spent considerable energy on looking at the organization per se. I think we have now, how many patrol officers, Peter?
There's 40 assigned to patrol, and you have 5 units.
So we have probably on the order of about 40 patrol officers, an additional 5 a full-time bicycle unit, which are equivalent to patrol officers, except they're on bicycles all the time. Our patrol officers also patrol on bicycles as well. So we really want to up that. We're continuing to strengthen that bicycle officer, that bike unit, as it were, because the idea of having officers out, visible and approachable, it's a lot easier if the officer's on a bicycle or on foot as opposed to driving around in a car. We can't get rid of the cars or the police units because it is a large campus and we have a lot of off-campus properties that we have to respond to as well. So we have that as well as our dedicated K-9 unit. That also is a change. We had K-9 officers in the past that were assigned to patrol, randomly assigned to patrol. We now have a full-time K-9 unit. I think you saw the need for that K-9 unit in the recent events that occurred the past month or so involving the bombings that occurred in Austin. All of our K-9 officers are bomb detection certified and actually assisted during that particular event, both with the federal authorities as well as the local police, APD in particular. So all of those things are continuing to evolve and we're continuing to grow and organize ourselves in a way that's most effective and efficient so that we can keep our campus secure and safe.
And Chief, you also mentioned before that just because of the staffing of your officers, it's not their job to sit and look at social media kind of as reports come through there. Have you, first of all, continued to see the same number of sort of people trying to make reports on social media, or are they calling more? And secondly, are the same numbers of UTPD staff personnel monitoring, or is there additional support there?
One of the challenges for all police departments is the issue of social media and the monitoring thereof. And so what happens is we do that on an occasional basis, but not a continual basis. That's why we really emphasize the importance of actually calling 911 as opposed to sharing information back and forth. However, we are looking with our new public information director, we are looking at social media a lot more, and we're looking for ways to make that more effective so that information flows to the police department, but also out of the police department. I think you will see that based on our Twitter and our Facebook, and now also on Instagram. So we are evolving, and this is something that we think is very important moving forward.
And Chief, there's also been a change in terms of you guys are now working with APD when they respond to things in West Campus. They'll alert you, correct?
Yes. And that, I guess that, yes, you're right. Thanks for bringing that up. One of the things we do, and we have been good partners with APD, and they're good partners with us as well as DPS, but we respond frequently. We actually monitor their frequencies. If we hear a call in West Campus area, we will respond to it if it's an emergency call. If it's an old call, like a report of a theft or something like that, that's APD's responsibility to address that. If we hear something that where somebody's student may be in jeopardy or in harm's way, then UTPD officers will respond. We have a great relationship with APD, and it's only getting stronger.
Last question for you. Between what you guys have learned from APD and the reports they've sent to you, and just in general the feedback you've got on campus, big picture for this department, what have you guys learned over the past year?
I think the biggest thing is reinforcing things that we thought. In other words, the point is there's nothing new under the sun in terms of policing and security, but the one thing that is certain is the issue of community policing is important, and community policing really is about a two-way street of sharing information and communicating effectively and appropriately. And I think that's really come out and made it very clear to us. It's important. I think we've made good strides on that. And again, like I mentioned, the fact is that one of the big lessons learned from the tragedy of the the stabbing event that we had 1 year ago was the issue is that a lot of information was flowing back and forth. A lot of misinformation was there, and it really was necessary for the police department to try and get in front of that, to stem some of those kind of issues where the community was actually frightened. And they were frightened of misinformation, but the point is that we needed to be faster in getting out that information. We did our first and primary job, and that is to respond, apprehend the person that was responsible for that, as well as administering first aid to those people that were injured. The thing is, we were admittedly slow on getting that information out. In other words, years ago, it would have been satisfactory for a police department to kind of give an update in 15 or 20 minutes. Those days are long gone with social media. The information and misinformation started flying right and left, and that certainly was problematic. So we want to get in front of that. I think that was probably our single biggest lesson learned. What else?
Regarding like communication with students and the text alerts, how have you tried to improve those? I know you said you're trying to get faster, but I remember last year like I learned about it from my brother, and then I got the text alert.
What did you learn from your brother?
That there was a stabbing in to avoid the area.
So that goes to the issue that we talked about. We put out information, I think it was about 15 to 20 minutes, but we were really, really focused on responding to that call, and we were also, the one thing is that we were actually short-staffed in communications in order to get that information out. That was really important to us. In terms of the text message, I think that's what you're talking about, right? So that is one of the things that we really are trying to figure out. What is the right amount of information to put out on text message versus putting out on social media versus putting out on an email? You know what? One of the challenges for policing or any organization is like, what media do you use? And so we're working our way through that. We now have somebody to actually help us internally with that. So I think you'll see improvements. You probably see them today on social media. You probably notice the Twitter and the Facebook feeds from UTBD providing information. Hopefully you do. Do you?
Yes.
Okay, good. So there's an affirmation there. So that's what I would say to that.
And then regarding like patrolling, how do you like distribute the patrol on campus? Like you probably have more like in areas like Speedway and stuff. So like how do you determine where to distribute your patrolling resources?
I'm looking to see if our district map is up here, and it's not. So I'll lesson learned. Need to work on that. So when I started here back in summer of 2013, UTP had a total of 5 districts. These are patrol districts. 4 districts were on campus, 1 district was off. Today we have 8. We have 6 on-campus districts. In other words, if you look at one of these campus maps, they're actually divided into 6 patrol districts where there is an officer in a car or on foot in each one of those 6 districts, and then 2 that are off campus. Primarily they're in cars with their off campus. But additionally, on top of those districts is we have the bike unit, which has freedom to be assigned to wherever there's a problem area or there's an area of concern, or if we see or get information that some crimes are occurring, the bicycle unit will go out there and address those kind of things. And you see them in West Campus probably fairly frequently. Okay.
Wait, one more thing on that.
Your time is up. Next. No. Go ahead, Alyssa.
Last year, just about this time, you got pretty emotional at the press conference talking about what happened on May 1st. Does that day stick with you? Do you think about it? What goes through your mind when you look back to that day?
Well, you know what? I think as a representative of this university and as a member of this UT community and this police department, how could you not be affected by the tragedy that occurred there? It obviously affected all of our police officers. I mean, we care about our community. The chiefs are no exception to that, and obviously I felt that at the time. And this week, we certainly will reflect on Harrison's loss as well as Harkin's loss. We feel that. We understand our responsibility, and we're very thankful for the fact that we have a good police department. Our officers do care. That is something that's really important, and our community cares, and they work with us.
You're engaging with the community more, with the students more. What are they telling you? How do they feel in the past year?
So that's something that kind of, that's something that evolves in the way the communication methods that are occurring. I think what I hear is every once in a while there will be some concern about some particular issue, but a lot of times it's not even something that actually happened on campus, but it's something that happened near campus or happened out in the city. That's clearly a concern for them. So that shows the importance of us being tied into APD and DPS and Travis County Sheriff and all those folks. But I think that by and large, I pick up positive feedback. Obviously, there's some students that are concerned about particular issues, but I think the thing is, and I'm hopeful of this, I'm hopeful that our student community is helping us subscribe to our vision or reach our vision, which is to be trusted and respected by all segments of UT Austin's diverse community. And I think that we're headed that way. Whether we're there fully or not, I don't know. But I think that's the information that I'm getting, that open dialogue, that communication is continuing. Okay. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, sir.
Good to see you.
Thank you.